Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to my twin flame story week by week or month by month. I think it's more like a month by month by now. I believe this is episode 38 and the topic, among other things, is going to be when you are in separation, when you've moved on from your twin flame, and when the twin flame still lingers in the background. It kind of reminds me of a Cranberries song. You know the group, the Cranberries? I know most of you are not going to know that group, but there is a song that says, "Do you have to let it linger?" And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to really dig deep into my own twin flame journey, not week by week, month by month. If you're interested, please do stay tuned. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for subscribing below. Click on the bell, scroll up to all for all notifications. And thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. All right, we're gonna go really quickly over the Twin Flame Trilogy books that I have. So I have Twin Flame Romance, The Journey to Unconditional Love, Twin Flame Union, The 7 Keys to a Healthy Twin Flame Journey, and my brand new book, The Empowered Divine Feminine, Becoming an Unstoppable Woman in the 21st Century and Beyond. And yes, this book is for women. Men can read it too, because I'm sure you have women in your lives that could use this. So I want to say that in the last vlog, I said, let our voice be the louder voice, meaning the voice of positivity, the voice of reason, the voice of logic, the voice of love. Let our voice be the louder voice. And to that end, if you have read any of those three that I just named, Twin Flame Romance, Twin Flame Union, or The Empowered Divine Feminine, and you bought the book on Amazon in any format, please, I beseech you, leave a review on Amazon for any of those three books or all of those three books. The reason is because I would like the voice of positivity, the voice of truth, the voice of reason to be the louder voice. In case you don't know, there's been a few, I think I mentioned this either on a live stream or in the last vlog, that was the Empowered Divine Feminine vlog, but there's been some haters, there's been some people who reacted to certain documentary series on both Amazon Prime and Netflix and took it out of my book without even reading my book or buying my book. They just took it out because it was a way they could take out their frustration or anger. I don't know, but it's not fair. It's not just. It's not truthful or kind, nor is it within reason, because if you read a book and you don't like it, that's one thing. But if you just are spouting off anger to spout off anger, that's another thing. If you have read any of these three books or all of these three books and you have not yet left a review on Amazon, I would highly appreciate it. To that end, I'd like to talk a little bit about my twin flame journey as it stands today, January 8th of 2024. Oh my gosh, I've got Grogu tumbler here with some Ticino dandelion caramel nut tea. Ooh, that is super hot, which is good because it's a chilly day here in Southern California today. I've got Grogu, my Padawan, who is right there watching over me, watching over my shoulder, making sure I'm being a good Jedi. So I don't know if I already mentioned this recently, but back in August of 2023, I had a conversation over text with my Divine Masculine Twin Flame, and I noticed some similar patterns that had been happening in the past that weren't necessarily healthy for me. They weren't a healthy way of interacting. They were more pulling me into old patterns with him, and I certainly didn't want that, which led me to believe that he wasn't really in a space, and he actually said this, he wasn't even really in a space to be in a 3D friendship with me. And he said, I just don't have the time, I don't have the wherewithal, whatever. And I stated that that was not within my interests. I wasn't going to maintain an online relationship or a texting relationship from time to time to check in on a very superficial level, sometimes on a not so very superficial level. But I said, really, I value myself. It's not something I would have said in the past. I value myself, and I value real world relationships, real world friendships, real relationships, not just these ones that pop in and out of my life every month or so, or every 2 months or 3 months or so, but a real in-person context of a relationship, someone who takes genuine interest in my life the way I take genuine interest in their life, and where we meet for coffee, we meet for dinner, we go out, whatever. And he just was not interested in that at all. And so I severed ties with him in a way. I said, well, to that end, I really don't believe we need to be in each other's lives then. And I meant it. I meant it at the time. I still mean it today. And some of you might be thinking, and I know some of you have thought, because I think I might have mentioned that actually. And some of you may be thinking, some of you may have thought, well, Michelle, she's abandoned the twin flame journey. And let me tell you this, you cannot abandon the twin flame journey. The twin flame journey is a concept. It's a spiritual construct that your soul asks for, that your soul enters into. And so you cannot possibly abandon your twin flame journey. You can abandon the pursuit of your twin flame in the 3D, which it should never be a pursuit, right? If something is meant for you, it will come for you. And as I have said many times in the past, you didn't have to do anything to meet your twin flame. The universe conspired so that you met the person that is your soul counterpart. You met this person, you saw them, you had this experience, and there was nothing you had to do to make this happen. It just happened. In the same way, if it is meant to be in the 3D in this lifetime, it will happen. Now, granted, you can't ignore your spiritual awakening. You can't ignore your own spiritual work and your wounding. You can't ignore that, because for the sake of spiritual awakening, that stuff is going to come up and happen anyway. And so it's not like you have to be a good A student on the spiritual journey. It's not about that. It's that by nature of being on a spiritual journey, things are going to change. Your life is going to change. Your outlook will change. And there's nothing you can do to stop that either. And the reason is because your spirit came to earth to learn this stuff. So it's not as if you could even bow out of it if you wanted to. It's not the way this works. You can delay the process. You can look the other way. You can stall. You can procrastinate. But if your soul is here to learn certain lessons on your spiritual journey, then you're bound to learn those one way or the other. You can go in kicking and screaming, or you can go in voluntarily. And so for those of you that might be thinking like, wow, Michelle, that was pretty rough. Like, you must be abandoning your twin flame journey. And my answer to you is no. I am having integrity for myself. I'm having healthy boundaries for myself. I'm having eyes wide open with a recognition of what is old patterns and what are new and healthier patterns. And I was also having a true recognition of where my twin flame divine counterpart was at that time. Because after 5 years, had he said to me, yes, I foresee this as being a 3D friendship in the very least, in the beginning, of course, in the very least. I see this as us being involved in each other's lives in some way, shape, or form, then that would have been another conversation. But his answer many times over was nothing to the sort. It was like he wanted to keep a distance friendship, even though We are very close in proximity in geographical location. And there is no, from what I understand, there is no marriage or commitment on his end. There was really no real world reason to delay a friendship or to say that this is not something I want. But he wanted to stay in touch. Like, that didn't make much sense to me, especially after all this time. So I was like, well, okay, we don't really need to be in each other's lives. I'm not really interested in this touching base every few months. That's not where I am at. I want real friends with real world experiences, with a real, genuine, invested interest in who I am as a person in my life. And so since then, and it's been 4 months and some change now, perhaps 4, something like that, 4 or 5 months, I have still felt his presence kind of lingering in the background. Now, it's not as strong as it was the first year or the second year or even the third year I was on the twin flame journey, kind of in separation, kind of not, but kind of in separation, if you will. And so it's not that it felt as strong in the past few months that it has in the past. But even though I really am not making a concerted effort to think about him or mull over him or whatever, there's still this presence in the background. And I'm wondering if you too have noticed that with your twin flame divine counterpart, where you may be in separation, you may have decided to move forward with your life, date other people, do whatever, and there is still this presence of your twin flame in the background. Whether you think of them when you're not thinking of them, whether their name comes up, or whether you just kind of feel like their energy is around you, whatever that happens to be. And so that's kind of my experience. And a long time ago, I'd say a long time ago, it feels like a long time ago now. I want to say it was perhaps back in 2022 or 2021 in the fall. And I had a date with someone who inquired a lot about twin flames. And it's mostly because I mentioned to this guy that I was doing content on twin flames. And so he asked for this like extensive explanation of what a twin flame was about, what the journey was about. And I was kind of surprised because it was like a first date. And so I felt a little bit intimidated having to explain this to a total stranger, especially someone who I was trying to get to know. After the entire explanation, it was super interesting because he said to me, oh, like having a twin flame is kind of like having an extra guardian angel or something. And I was like, yeah, actually, you know what? I could see that. I could see how you could interpret it that as such. And I'm like, yeah, you know, it does kind of feel like that. So I feel that in a way, in a really weird way, again, it's not as strong as it was the first 3 years, but in a way, I feel like my twin flame is my guardian angel, kind of just watching over me, checking in the 5D, right? Once in a while. And that is the presence that is just surrounding me. And not at all times, because most times I'm just not even thinking about him, not really aware of his presence, so to speak. But at other times, yeah, there's this general awareness. And so I find that like super interesting. So I just wanted to know if anybody out there was feeling that as well. Let's pivot a little bit to what I want to talk about in 2024 on my channel. Now, if you watched my Empower Divine Feminine vlog, I spoke about the keywords for this year. The keywords are spiritual development. Those are the keywords for the channel for this year. But I was thinking about the actual content that I would like to produce this year. And one of the things that is changing for the most part is I will probably be doing more vlogging type material because I like the free flow. I like the ability to just state my experience, for example. I am going to be producing a fair amount of content on the contents, if you will, of the Empowered Divine Feminine. And I'm going to be doing less, if not stopping altogether, less of the monthly tarot readings for Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine, and the couple. And I thought about that because it's already January 8th, and I did a twin flame reading for twin flame union, and I did it based on the keywords. I did it based on spiritual development. However, when I was getting ready to maybe record a Divine Masculine twin flame tarot reading, it didn't feel right. It wasn't sitting right with me because I just feel like even though it'll get views, I'm certain it'll get views, I'm just feeling it's not super helpful. And I feel that doing the live streams where I do tarot card pulls, Divine Masculine card pulls for individual viewers during the live stream, I find that is way more useful to the individual person rather than doing a collective reading, because now that it is 2024, the Twin Flame Collective is extremely diverse. In those concentrated years between, I would say, 2017 and 2020, there were thousands upon thousands of twin flames awakening in that short period of time. And so many twin flames were kind of on the same track together. They were all going through similar things and similar points in their twin flame journey. But now I find there are new twin flame couples awakening to this. And I know because I coach them. I do one-on-one readings and I coach them. So I do know this. There are brand new couples just awakening to the experience. However, they're on a different part of the journey than I am, for example. And so I was just feeling that doing these DM or even DF tarot videos are not exactly helpful to the entire collective or those that tune into the channel completely. And I feel that it is way more valuable to tune into my live streams and get some cards pulled. I do ask for a donation, but you can get a card pulled for $5 or up to $5, if you will. I just find it a lot more useful to do individual readings, one-on-one readings, where it's very targeted toward you as a person versus trying to do it for a whole collective. It's not that it wouldn't necessarily resonate, it just doesn't sit well with where I am at right now. So I made the executive decision, as I am my own boss, I made my executive decision that I was gonna just not do that this month. I don't know about next month, we shall see. But I'm really doing more vlog-like content, which I feel like it's a good checking in. It's a good tuning in. It's a good just seeing like where I've been on this journey, where I'm going, what's coming up for me, as well as perhaps a lot of guidance videos of what else is going on with clients I've been coaching. If I start to see a pattern with clients that I've coached, then I'm like, oh, there's like something going on here. And it might be helpful for the rest of you who are not getting one-on-one readings with me. It might be helpful for the rest of you to like hear what is going on, what's happening, what kind of guidance on the spiritual journey, for example, that could help you move forward on your spiritual journey. Now, that being said, if you have any specific questions about the journey in general, the spiritual awakening experience in general, becoming empowered as a woman on the journey in general, please do put those in the comments below so that I can look at that. And if I enjoy the topic, then I can address that. Or if I have knowledge about the topic, then I can address that. But obviously, I'm not going to know to address it if nobody says anything. I'm just pulling out from what I hear in sessions with clients, with individual sessions with clients. So if I hear, like I said, if I hear a repetitive problem, for example, and that's like, oh, okay, that's a nugget of wisdom that I could help impart on in my YouTube videos, so that maybe others who are having a similar issue could maybe bounce ideas off of that. And that's really what it is, right? I'm not saying that my answers are a one size fits all. And I'm not saying that mine are the ultimate expertise. It's just a nugget of information to be able then to bounce ideas off of, okay? Because I really believe that a lot of people do come off as the ultimate expert on a specific topic. And really, like, you know, unless if you've been doing a topic for 20, 30 years and you have a PhD in that topic, for example, you're really not going to be able to be an expert on that and speak the voice of absolute 100%, this is correct. Especially with spiritual concepts, right? Spiritual concepts are a lot more elastic. They are a lot more subjective than scientific concepts, mathematical concepts, or the like, right? Or the like. There's no absolutes in spirituality. It's like there's a lot of room for growth and interpretation. And even though some people would like to think there are absolutes, there's always stretching room, I feel, with spiritual concepts. So I don't feel like anything is 100% absolute 100% of the time always true. Even though I may say some things that are truth, and I believe it with all of my heart, mind, soul, but that doesn't mean it's going to resonate with you at 100% truth, if that makes sense. So yeah, so bring up topics that might be of interest or intrigue to you along the lines of spirituality, spiritual development, the twin flame journey developing, meditation. Those are my areas of expertise, right? Spiritual awakening, meditation, mind-body health. Those are all my areas of expertise, the things that I have studied for a long time. Yeah, I would say well over 20 years. Well over 20 years. The topics of spirituality, mind-body health, meditation, mind-body connection, yoga, philosophy. Yeah, all of those topics I've studied well over 20 years. So I can say I have some areas of expertise in those. So ask away if you have specific questions, not specific to your situation, of course. And that would be saved for a one-on-one consultation or a one-on-one few card reading over a live stream, but just in general, like something that could help the collective. Okay. Another thing that I would like to say, and I don't feel like any of you watching this video would fall into that category, but please, when you're commenting on somebody else's comments on a video, please do not be an expert to them. Don't do that on my channel. If you want to do it on other people's channels, that's fine. Please don't do it on mine, because if someone is expressing themselves and saying how they're feeling their stories, and you are answering them with an absolute truth as advice, it's not necessarily your place to do that. If someone's expressing themselves, they're not necessarily asking for that. And what is absolutely true for you might not be true for them. When you say like I'm just gonna say something categorical that I've seen, like all twin flames are meant to come into union, or all twin flames are not meant to come into union, right? So I see those as comments, as people like answering other people on the videos. I'm like, well, no one gave you the authority to say that, first and foremost, meaning you're not God. Like, I would never say either or of those things because I'm not God. I'm not the creator of the universe. I don't know everything, and I certainly don't know the answers to those. Like, I can have inklings of this or that, but I always say, like, there are no absolutes. The only absolute is physical death at this point, and that might even change with science. But the only thing that is absolute is like, you're gonna die someday. I'm gonna die someday. My physical body will. My soul won't. My soul will live on, but the physical body is gonna die someday. That's pretty much the absolute. But when you say all or nothing, when you say categorically twin flames are this or that, when you say spiritual awakening is about this or that, it's not true, A. Again, the twin flame journey, the spiritual awakening journey is very subjective. And thirdly, it makes the other person feel bad, feel inadequate, and it makes you look like someone who is just not in control of yourself, like being bossy or being like a know-it-all. So I know none of you are doing that, right? If you're watching me, I know for certain you're not doing that, because most of the people that would watch a vlog that I do are much more self-aware, if you will. But if you feel tempted to tell other people how it is, then I would just refrain and maybe ask yourself why you feel you need to dictate to others how it is. Why you feel you need to answer someone with a categorical answer like that. Maybe it could be about your own insecurities, about your own twin flame journey, right? Or about your own spiritual journey, that you feel like you need to box yourself into a specific answer. So again, everything in the spiritual realm is rather fluid, right? The universe is a lot bigger, vaster, and way more intelligent than we could ever conceive in our human bodies. I don't know any of the answers. I'm just here talking with you guys. So yeah, that's where I'm at on my twin flame journey. Still forging forward. I feel like 2024 is going to be a fantastic year for me. I'm heavily into astrology now. I don't know if y'all know that, but I am starting to do natal chart readings. I will not be doing synastry readings, which is like combining two charts. So like for relationships, I won't be doing that this year. I've been studying astrology full force for 2 years. I don't feel I'm ready to do, I haven't even taken the courses. I have a course lined up, but I haven't even taken the course on synastry readings. I don't think I'd feel comfortable doing synastry readings at this point. But individual birth charts and transit charts, of course, which means like where the current planetary alignments are now in relation to your birth chart, I do feel comfortable doing that, but I do ask for a 3-day lead time. And I think my booking app is set up to a 3-day lead time, because I will prepare for your reading for 4 or 5 hours before your birth chart reading. And I want to make sure that there's no margin for error on my part, meaning I don't want to misinterpret something or misread something. This is relatively new for me in doing birth chart readings, so I don't want to mess it up. And I do take 4 to 5 hours to prepare for each chart. So that's why I need a 3-day lead time. So I am doing that, but I feel like 2024 is going to be amazing for me personally, because Pluto, which is the planet of transformation, big time transformation, is moving out of my 7th house of one-on-one relationships, where it has been since 2008. 2008, that's a long time. And it's moving into my 8th house, where Pluto does feel a lot more comfortable being in the 8th house. And it's off of my house of relationships, which is going to be amazing. It feels already so freeing, as it is in the last degree of Capricorn. And I feel like, wow, one-on-one relationships are going to be so much easier for me now. And just think about that. One-on-one relationships means all one-on-one relationships, not just the romantic one-on-one relationship. But I do feel that heavy burden kind of lifting off. And I didn't really even learn this till a couple of years ago, that Pluto was sifting through my 7th house very, very slowly, of course, as Pluto will move very slowly. And I didn't really know, because I wasn't sure how to read transits yet. This was 2 years ago. I wasn't sure how to read transits, so I didn't even really know. But I knew since 2008. 2008 is when I went through my divorce. Since 2008, I've had like tumultuous one-on-one relationships. And I was like, what is going on? Like, why am I so bad at relationships? But then, this makes sense. Pluto, the planet of transformation, transforming everything. So that's super interesting. But I do feel like 2024 is going to be an amazing year. And I hope it will be an amazing year for you too. I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for subscribing to my channel below. Click on the bell, scroll up to all for all notifications. Thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. Thank you for sharing this video with other twin flames. And thank you so much for your support of my channel and of my work. You can buy one of my 11 published books. You could leave a review if you read them. You can join a twin flame online bootcamp on demand if you're needing help through your twin flame journey. I have a meditation course online, and we do group coaching now. We're doing it through Patreon. I'll put the Patreon link below, and I'll see you in the next video.